women do this thing where they end up breaking up with a guy or getting a divorce, and when they're asked why, they will say he changed. And I don't think that this is true in most cases. I don't think that's a thing that happens. I think that generally people don't change. It's just that their partners were not paying attention when they were dating them, and they just jumped into something too quickly.
Okay, that is not just women, and I'm sure they know this, because I have heard so many times from guys in the Manosphere about how their toxic ex-wives or toxic ex-girlfriends hid their personalities, their true personalities, from them for some time. Or I've read comments where they're talking about this, where they say that, she hides a personality, that they didn't realise, what she was truly like, until months or years later. I don't know, when it comes to people, right, who've been in toxic relationships, like most of them, men or women, they say, the person seemed charming and really nice at first. Now, there is a thing called love bombing, okay, which is done by some people, who have certain personality disorders, and that is at the very, very beginning of the relationship, if somebody's love bombing you, they are too full on, too straight away, acting like they're madly in love with you, telling you how wonderful they are, how wonderful you are, maybe buying you loads of presents, or talking about marrying you when it's the second date or something. That's what psychologists describe as love bombing, which is a red flag. Okay, well, a major red flag, okay, that somebody is toxic and that you shouldn't date them, alright, because, I said in the other video I did, when I talked about Lauren Southern, in another video I did, the cycle of abuse, if you're talking about narcissist abuse, there's idealization or love bombing, then devaluing, and then discarding. Okay, so, if somebody's too nice, because these guys in the Manosphere, they always say, if a woman ends up in a toxic relationship, they always say, it's because women like bad guys, and I'd say, well, no, because most of the time, people, men or women, say it's actually the person they were overly nice to start with. Okay.
There is no modern day evidence that women prefer bad boys, either when they're ovulating or when they're not. There's actually more evidence to prove the opposite. There is evidence that women are attracted to men with dark triad traits, but one of these traits is narcissism, which correlates with physical attractiveness and extroversion. And in much the same way, men are attracted to women with dark triad traits, as narcissism correlates with physical attractiveness. So once the physical attractiveness and the confidence is controlled for, dark triad traits actually add nothing for either gender. Basically, you can be confident and nice and you'll still be attractive to women and men.
But when you get people who say that the person they were with hid their true personality from them for months or years, I don't know whether they're telling the truth or whether they just don't want to admit that they ignored the red flags because maybe they feel a bit embarrassed, or whether they feel a bit bad about themselves. I don't know. Okay. But that's not just men or women. Alright. Now, when it comes to accountability for your choices in partner, because like I keep saying, they always say this in the Manosphere. They always, if they've been in relationships with toxic women, they all get together and they moan about women, and they talk about how, they don't trust women anymore. But whenever it's a woman who claims to have been in a relationship with a toxic man, the first thing any of them say is this is your fault, you chose him, take accountability for your choices, blah, 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 blah. But they don't think that they're accountable. Okay, now, when it comes to accountability for your bad choices, it's yeah, I do think that people are accountable for who they choose to date, okay, but I don't think that it's just as black and white as calling somebody stupid or calling somebody an idiot for choosing the wrong person. Okay, it's not as black and white as that, because you don't know the reasons for why they were attracted to the wrong person. Like some people, it can be because they are very lonely. Okay, some people ignore the red flags because they're lonely. Some people, they have very low self-esteem and don't think they can do any better. Some people it's because they're toxic themselves, so they're attracted to people similar to themselves. Some people, I think it's if they haven't had the best parents and the best guidance in life, they're not the best at making decisions on, who to date. And, I've heard it said before that sometimes women, if they didn't have a stable father figure in their life, they find it harder to tell the difference between good men and toxic men, because they haven't, seen that sort of positive masculinity in their life. Okay. I also think, personally, that sometimes men, if they've had toxic mothers, are more likely to date toxic women. Okay. And Erin Pizzey has actually said something about this. Actually, Erin Pizzey has said before that she thinks that men that have had narcissistic mothers are more likely to go on and choose narcissistic women. Okay.
And then I realised, far too late, my father was such a brilliant man, for all the terrifying monster he was in many ways. I really, really enjoyed listening to him, because he was an old China hand, he was an Arabist, he was all sorts of things. And I looked for that sort of man without even realising it, and which is fairly disastrous. In many cases, again, it goes back to that thing, there are people who are innocent victims of their partner's violence. They quite genuinely really fall in for headlines for somebody, and then find, my God, he's a raving psychopath. And you can't pick those out. I don't care how practiced you are. But the majority are the women that I've said who are victims of their own violence, and their choices are based from their own childhood damage. Now you'll find an awful lot of men going for narcissistic women. Because the man himself has very bad image of himself, he's had probably an extremely damaging relationship with his mother. And what does he do? He goes out, and the girl who's in the centre of the room, getting all the attention, everybody wants to be with her, that's the one he'll pick. He never asked himself why he does that. And it's disastrous. He is responsible for his decision. Of course he is. And I don't let people off the hook any more than I'll let me off the hook. We are. The choices we make bring consequences into our lives. And the tragedy is when people don't even think that they actually get involved with a dangerous, violent person. And I look at them and say, and you chose to have children with him? What have you done to your children? You've landed them in this situation. And they look at you because they've never even thought that they have a responsibility of choosing a parent who is not going to be dangerous to the child.
So this is why I don't think it's just as black and white as telling people that they're idiots for choosing the wrong person, because some people don't know why they have a problem with being attracted to toxic people. And I think this is sometimes why some people say, or men are trash, or women are bad people, okay, because they keep dating the wrong people. I also do think there are some people that they're the toxic one, but don't realise, and then blame the opposite sex, okay, when they should do some self-reflection, okay. So I do think people are accountable for their choices in partners, but and that's not to victim blame. This isn't saying, nobody deserves to be treated badly, but it's just for your own benefit is why you should self-reflect, because it's for your own benefit that you should work out why you're attracted to toxic people, so you can learn and grow and sort of let, and choose nicer people, okay. Erin Pizzey also, she said, you know, again, when talking about accountability for your choices, she said that she goes by the rule of three, as in, she says, if you've been in a relationship with one person who's toxic or abusive, she said that could be an accident. They may have genuinely not realised what this person was like. If they've been in a relationship with two abusive people, she says that they've been careless with their choice in partners then. But if you've been in a relationship with three or more abusive people, she said, then it's you. You know, you're the one who's choosing them. You need to look at yourself and take accountability for your choices. And I think, well, that, you know, sounds fair enough.
You know, Stefan Molyneux used to be on YouTube, and he used to do call-in shows. I mean, I think he's still on the internet somewhere, maybe BitChute or something. And he used to take calls. And very, very frequently, people would call in, women would call in, having relationship problems, wanting to break up with guys, wanting to get a divorce, whatever. Or they would talk about their history. And very frequently, they would talk about their childhood. And what would often come up is they would blame their father or their stepfather for being abusive, for being mean, for being all these things. And Molyneux would always say, well, what about the mother? And they would have nothing bad to say about their mothers. In most cases, like 90% of cases. And he would say, well, at the very least, you have to consider that your mother, even if this man who was your stepfather or your father was abusive, even if that's true, you have to look at why your mother chose to sleep with him or marry him. Like, why? And this is the thing, like...
Okay, I think I know which rant from Stefan Molyneux he is talking about here. And this is a prime example about how guys in the Manosphere deflect blame onto the woman for everything all the time and make everything women's fault. Because, yeah, okay, if a woman chooses to breed with a toxic man, knowing that he is a toxic man, yes, she is accountable for that, okay? Because it's not only, you know, ruining her life, but it's going to be ruining children's lives as well. But also, if a man chooses to breed with a toxic woman, knowing that she is a toxic woman, he is also playing a part in ruining children's lives as well. But also, it's a way to deflect blame onto the woman to sort of deflect so people stop being angry at the man. This is what they do all the time in the Red Pill community. Like, if guys come and they complain about their toxic mothers and the way their mothers treated them, they'll sit there in the Red Pill community talking about how terrible women are. But as soon as anybody says, well, my dad did this and my dad, or I had a bad father because of this, straight away their first response is like, yes, but why did your mother pick him? Why did she pick him? Why didn't she choose to breed with a nice guy? It's deflecting the blame onto the woman, because although, okay, yes, she is accountable, the guy's still accountable for his attitude, and you will sit there and blame all women in claim to have taken the red pill and understand female nature and all that, when you will sit there in the red pill, they will sit there in this cesspool of woman hatred, blaming all women and making out that it's only women that can do wrong. But as soon as anybody points out that, well, men can do wrong as well, then you get that deflection. But it's the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault.
Women who choose the assholes will fucking end this race. They will fucking end this human race if we don't start holding them fucking accountable.
Obviously, lots of profanity here. We should point out.
Yes.
I agree with that. They are the gatekeepers.
He's talking to a caller.
They're the gate. Yes. Look, women who choose assholes guarantee child abuse. Women who choose assholes guarantee criminality, sociopathy, politicians, all the cold-hearted jerks who run the world.
Men.
Came out of the vaginas of women who married assholes. And I don't know how to make the world a better place without holding women accountable for choosing assholes.
It's women's fault men do terrible things. That's what he's saying here.
Your dad was an asshole because your mother chose him. Because it works on so many women.
Listen to how
If
he's saying.
asshole wasn't a great reproductive strategy, it would have been gone long ago. Women.
By the way, this is the core of the pickup artist,
Yes.
pseudo-scientific garbage worldview.
I'm a nice guy, so give me sex. That's why I'm a nice
No,
guy.
and assholes only succeed, whatever that even means.
Because women.
Because women, and usually, frankly, that's either a fundamental misinterpretation or they're just equating being an asshole with having confidence. Anyways, that's where this it comes from.
Keep that black bastard flame alive. They cup their hands around it. They protect it with their bodies. They keep the evil of the species going by continually choosing these guys. If being an asshole didn't get women, there would be no assholes left. If women chose nice guys over assholes, we would have a glorious and peaceful world in one generation.
The term nice guys, remember that
Women
term.
determine the personality traits of the men because women choose who to have sex with and who to have children with and who to expose those children to. I get that you're angry at your dad, and you have every reason to be angry at your dad. Your dad is who he is fundamentally because your mother was willing to fuck him and have you. Willing and eager to fuck the monster. Stop fucking monstrous, we get a great world. Keep fucking monstrous, we get catastrophes. We get war, we get nuclear weapons, we get national debts, we get incarcerations and prison guards and all the other florid assholes who rule the world. Women worship at the feet of the devil and wonder why the world is evil. And then, you know what they say? We're victims.
Okay, so this rant of Stefan Molyneux, and I assume this is the one they're talking about, but, you know, regardless, this rant of Stefan Molyneux just proves how they hamster rationalise everything. Everything in the world is women's fault. Because, like, yeah, if women all chose to breed with nice guys instead of bad guys, the world would be a better place. But also, if men all chose to breed with nice women instead of horrible women, okay, the world would also be a better place. It's a two-way thing. The other thing that I kind of find really funny about this rant as well, though, is like, he doesn't seem to be taking into consideration that what makes a nice guy and what makes an arsehole is a matter of opinion. Because I would say that Stefan Molyneux, being one, a misogynist, and two, a white supremacist, makes him an absolute arsehole, okay? And that he is, like, definitely red flagged and that no woman should breed with him, okay? But he probably thinks he's one of the nice guys and one of the top guys that you should breed with, okay? And that's why I just find it quite funny when he's like, women should breed with nice guys, not assholes. It's like, well, okay, well, too bad somebody didn't tell your wife that then, isn't it, before she decided to breed with you.